Santa! Hey, come back here! Oh no. Oh my gosh. Oh my God, where did he go? Oh, look at the carrot.
Santa Claus, the mythical figure who embodies the spirit of giving, has been a source of wonder and joy for centuries. Though many consider Santa to be purely legendary, countless stories have surfaced about glimpses of him captured on camera. These tales add a sense of enchantment to the lore of Santa Claus, inviting believers of all ages to embrace the magic of the holiday season. Here are 15 fascinating accounts of times Santa Claus was reportedly caught on camera, weaving together elements of mystery, excitement, and holiday cheer. Before we start, hit the like and subscribe buttons for more exclusive news. The first story of Santa Claus being caught on camera dates back to a Christmas Eve in the early 1990s. The scene was set in a suburban home where a family had gone all out to create a festive atmosphere. The parents, keen to preserve the magic for their young children, had installed a small camcorder in the living room to catch Santa in the act. As the family slept soundly, the tape rolled on through the night. On Christmas morning, the children eagerly opened their presents, marveling at how Santa had managed to bring exactly what they had wished for. But the real magic awaited them later when their father played back the recording. The grainy footage showed an empty living room bathed in the soft glow of the Christmas tree lights. Suddenly, a faint sparkle appeared near the fireplace, growing brighter until the outline of a figure materialized. It was unmistakably Santa Claus, with his red suit, black boots, and jolly demeanor. He seemed to glance toward the camera, almost as if he knew he was being watched, before reaching into his sack to pull out toys and place them under the tree. The footage ended with Santa raising a gloved finger to his lips in a silent shh gesture, before vanishing in a shimmer of light. While skeptics might dismiss the video as a clever prank or special effects, the family insists to this day that they captured something extraordinary. The second account comes from a shopping mall in the mid-2000s, where a different type of camera documented a possible Santa Claus sighting. In many malls, Santa impersonators are a common sight during the holiday season, posing for pictures with children. However, this incident involved security footage from a quiet, closed-off section of the building long after the mall had shut for the night. Security personnel were reviewing the tapes to investigate a reported break-in when they noticed something peculiar. The footage revealed a shadowy figure moving swiftly through the darkened halls. As the camera tracked the figure, it became clear that this was no ordinary trespasser. The unmistakable red suit and flowing white beard left little doubt that the figure resembled Santa Claus himself. What was even stranger was how he moved, effortlessly gliding across the floor as if floating on air. The figure stopped momentarily near a large decorative Christmas tree in the atrium. He reached into his sack, pulled out an ornament, and carefully hung it on the tree. Then, with a twinkle of light, he disappeared as quickly as he had appeared. When the footage was shown to mall management, they were divided on its authenticity. Some believed it was a promotional stunt, while others were genuinely mystified. Adding to the intrigue, the ornament left behind was unlike any of the others on the tree. It was a delicate, hand-blown glass creation depicting Santa in his sleigh, and no one could account for where it had come from. Shoppers later reported a sense of wonder as they passed by the ornament, claiming it seemed to sparkle more brightly than the rest. The third and perhaps most astonishing story of Santa Claus being caught on camera comes from a rural farmhouse during a snowy Christmas Eve in the 2010s. A family living far from the hustle and bustle of the city had set up wildlife cameras around their property to monitor the local deer population. On Christmas morning, as they reviewed the overnight footage, they came across a scene that left them speechless. The camera, positioned near a snow-covered clearing, captured a group of reindeer standing together under the moonlight. At first glance, this seemed perfectly ordinary, until a figure stepped into view. It was a man dressed in red, carrying a sack over his shoulder and wearing the familiar fur-lined hat. The reindeer appeared to greet him as he approached, and he patted each one on the head. The man then reached into his sack and began distributing what appeared to be treats to the animals. After a few moments, he climbed into a sleigh that had been obscured by the trees. The reindeer took their positions, and with a flick of the reins, the sleigh lifted off the ground and vanished into the night sky. The family shared the footage with friends and neighbors, sparking debates about its authenticity. While some suggested it was a well-orchestrated hoax, others were captivated by the possibility that they had glimpsed the real Santa Claus. The video even gained attention online, where viewers analyzed every frame in search of clues. Some pointed out that the sleigh tracks in the snow appeared consistent with the movements shown in the footage, while others argued that the glowing light surrounding the sleigh could not be easily explained by modern video effects. Each of these stories offers a unique lens through which to view the enduring legend of Santa Claus. The first, captured by a loving family in their living room, emphasizes the intimacy and personal magic of the holiday season. The second, set in a bustling mall, highlights the communal joy and wonder that Santa represents, even in unexpected places. The third, recorded in a serene natural setting, ties the myth of Santa to the timeless beauty of the winter landscape and the bond between humans and nature. While none of these accounts can be conclusively proven, their value lies in the feelings they evoke. They remind us of the joy, mystery, and wonder that the figure of Santa Claus brings to the holiday season. Whether you believe these sightings are genuine or simply the result of creative minds crafting enchanting tales, the stories themselves serve as a testament to the enduring power of Santa Claus as a symbol of hope and generosity. The next account takes us to a quiet village in northern Europe, where a family had set up a drone to film the snowfall during Christmas Eve. The drone soared high above the rooftops, capturing the serene beauty of the snow-covered town illuminated by warm yellow lights. As it hovered near the clock tower of the local church, the operator noticed something peculiar on the live feed. A figure, small at first but growing larger as the drone zoomed in, appeared to be riding a sleigh pulled by reindeer. The sleigh zipped across the sky, leaving a faint trail of shimmering light in its wake. The drone operator, stunned, adjusted the angle to follow the figure. It was Santa Claus, dressed in his signature red suit with a white beard flowing in the wind. The drone managed to keep pace for a few seconds before Santa turned toward it, smiled, and waved. Moments later, he and his sleigh disappeared into a glowing cloud of mist. The family shared the footage online, sparking debates about its authenticity. Some pointed to the precise movements and dynamic lighting as evidence that it couldn't have been faked, while others argued it might have been a highly advanced hoax. Regardless of the technical explanations, the video left viewers in awe and added a new layer to Santa's mystique. The next story unfolds in a bustling urban center, where the chaos of Christmas Eve is palpable. In the heart of the city, a security camera on the rooftop of a high-rise building captured an extraordinary event. This particular camera, used to monitor the city skyline, had a direct view of the surrounding buildings and streets below. Around midnight, the footage showed what appeared to be a sleigh, complete with reindeer, landing softly on the roof of a nearby skyscraper. The camera captured Santa Claus stepping out of the sleigh, his boots crunching on the snowy rooftop. He carried a sack that seemed almost bottomless as he reached inside to pull out several wrapped gifts. The gifts were placed near an air vent, which was later revealed to be the entrance to a daycare center located within the building. Before leaving, Santa paused, looked directly at the camera, and gave a hearty wave. Then, in an instant, the reindeer leaped into the air, pulling the sleigh with them, and they were gone. The footage caused a stir among residents and the media, with experts analyzing the video frame by frame. The daycare staff later discovered the gifts on Christmas morning, adding to the sense of wonder surrounding the sighting. The other most heartwarming account comes from a children's hospital in the late 2010s, as patients and families celebrated Christmas together. On Christmas Eve, long after the staff had finished decorating and most of the children were asleep, the cameras recorded something extraordinary. In the middle of the night, the footage showed Santa Claus appearing in the hospital's playroom. He didn't arrive through a door but seemed to materialize out of thin air. Carrying a sack filled with toys and wearing a warm, glowing smile, Santa began placing gifts at each of the tables and under the small Christmas tree in the corner. What made the footage particularly remarkable was his interaction with the room itself. As he moved, the twinkling lights on the tree grew brighter and the room seemed to be filled with an inexplicable warmth, as if touched by magic. The most touching moment came when a child, unable to sleep, wandered into the playroom. Santa knelt down, spoke softly to the child, and handed them a small, beautifully wrapped box. The footage didn't record sound, but the child's smile was enough to convey the emotion of the moment. After a few minutes, Santa placed a finger to his lips in a gesture of secrecy and vanished as quietly as he had appeared. The next morning, the hospital staff found not only the gifts but also handwritten notes from Santa, addressed to the children, wishing them strength and joy. When the video was shared among staff and families, it brought tears of happiness and left many convinced that something truly magical had occurred. In a remote cabin nestled deep in the Alaskan wilderness, a group of researchers conducting a wildlife study found themselves at the center of a Santa Claus mystery. The team had installed high-definition motion sensor cameras to monitor the nocturnal habits of Arctic animals, particularly around a frozen lake. On Christmas morning, as they sifted through the previous night's footage, they discovered something astonishing. The cameras captured a sleigh pulled by reindeer landing on the icy lake with pinpoint precision. Santa Claus, dressed in his iconic red suit, stepped down from the sleigh and inspected the surroundings. He appeared to be consulting a list, then approached the camera directly, as if aware of its presence. His face was kind but focused, and he gestured toward the lens, as if to say, "Keep this to yourselves." Moments later, he climbed back into the sleigh, and the reindeer lifted it gracefully into the air. The footage puzzled the researchers. While they were accustomed to capturing rare wildlife sightings, the presence of Santa Claus in such a remote and inhospitable location defied explanation. They debated whether to share the footage, but ultimately decided to preserve the magic by keeping it among themselves and close friends, who remained divided on what they saw. Another remarkable sighting comes from a small seaside town in Australia, where Santa was spotted in an entirely unexpected way. A family was using a drone to film their Christmas Eve bonfire on the beach, a cherished local tradition. The footage initially showed the family and their neighbors gathered around the flames, enjoying the holiday spirit. As the drone ascended higher, its camera captured a breathtaking aerial view of the coastline bathed in moonlight. Out of nowhere, a sleigh pulled by reindeer appeared in the distance, flying low over the water. The camera followed as the sleigh made its way toward the town. Santa was clearly visible, sitting tall and holding the reins, his red suit vivid against the dark sky. He appeared to be scanning the area, perhaps ensuring all was in order for his nightly deliveries. The sleigh circled once above the bonfire, and then, in an instant, it disappeared over the horizon. The family later reviewed the footage and posted it online, where it became a sensation. Viewers marveled at the clarity of the image and the sheer improbability of seeing Santa Claus flying over a beach in the southern hemisphere. Skeptics argued it could have been a creative use of drones and CGI, but for those who experienced it firsthand, it felt like genuine holiday magic. The next story takes us to a historical castle in Scotland, where a paranormal investigation accidentally captured what many believe to be Santa Claus. The castle, famous for its ghostly legends, attracts visitors year-round, and a team of paranormal enthusiasts decided to conduct an overnight investigation during the Christmas season. They set up infrared cameras in the Great Hall, a space decorated with festive lights and a towering Christmas tree. In the early hours of Christmas morning, one camera recorded a surprising event. The footage showed the Great Hall empty and still, until a faint shimmering light appeared near the tree. The light grew brighter and began to take shape, eventually revealing a figure in red. It was Santa Claus, complete with his sack of toys and a joyful smile. He moved silently, placing small wrapped gifts beneath the tree, then stood for a moment to admire his work. Before leaving, he glanced toward the camera, winked, and vanished into a sparkling mist. When the investigators reviewed the footage, they were stunned. While they had hoped to capture evidence of ghosts, they had instead documented something even more extraordinary. The gifts left behind were real. Small wooden toys and candy canes, each bearing a tag that read, "Believe in the Magic." The discovery delighted the castle's staff and visitors, sparking a renewed sense of wonder during the holiday season. The next story comes from a high-tech office building in Tokyo, where a team of software developers working late on Christmas Eve reported an unusual encounter. As part of their holiday decorations, the company had set up an AI-powered surveillance system that used motion detection to notify security of any activity after hours. Around midnight, the system flagged unexpected movement in the cafeteria, where no one was supposed to be. The video footage revealed a man dressed in a red suit and white-trimmed hat carrying a large sack. He moved silently, arranging small gift-wrapped boxes on the tables. The most baffling part was the system's inability to identify him. The AI, programmed to recognize faces, returned an error message each time it attempted to scan his features. To the astonishment of the developers, Santa appeared to pause in front of one of their computers, as if intrigued. He seemed to read something on the screen before leaving a handwritten note. "Hard work deserves kindness. Don't forget to enjoy the season." The security footage ends with him giving a slight bow to the camera before vanishing from sight. The developers, initially skeptical, couldn't explain how the figure had bypassed their building's extensive security systems or left no trace of his presence aside from the gifts and note. It remains a cherished story in the company's lore. The next account unfolds in a rural fire station in Montana, where firefighters had installed cameras to document their holiday charity drive. Every Christmas, the team distributed toys to local children, with the fire station serving as the collection hub. On Christmas morning, after all the toys had been delivered, the firefighters decided to review the overnight footage as a lighthearted way to end the season. What they found left them speechless. Around 3 a.m., the footage showed Santa Claus entering the station through the garage where the fire trucks were parked. He carried an enormous sack filled with toys and began neatly arranging them in the designated donation area. What stood out was the interaction between Santa and the station's mascot, a Dalmatian named Sparky. The dog, initially asleep, woke up and trotted over to Santa, tail wagging. Santa knelt to pat Sparky, then reached into his sack and pulled out a squeaky toy shaped like a bone. The dog happily took the toy and stayed by Santa's side as he worked. Before leaving, Santa gave the Dalmatian a playful scratch behind the ears, then climbed into his sleigh, which the camera barely captured as it lifted off from the station. The firefighters, many of whom are practical and skeptical by nature, were divided on what they saw. However, the presence of the squeaky toy, which no one had purchased, convinced many that the footage was genuine. The sighting comes from a remote ski lodge in the Swiss Alps, where a group of vacationing families experienced a Christmas Eve they would never forget. The lodge's manager, known for his attention to detail, had set up a hidden camera near the lodge's fireplace to document the arrival of Santa decorations for a promotional video. What he captured, however, was far beyond anything he had anticipated. Shortly after midnight, the footage showed Santa Claus emerging from the chimney in a manner that seemed both effortless and magical. His red suit was dusted with soot, but he moved with an elegance that left no doubt he was in his element. He began arranging gifts around the fireplace, pausing occasionally to inspect the stockings hung with care. What truly amazed viewers was a moment when he pulled a glowing snow globe from his sack. He placed it on the mantelpiece, and as he did, the room seemed to glow softly, as if the globe emitted a magical energy. Before leaving, Santa stood by the fireplace, gazed into the camera, and offered a wink and a wave. The families discovered the snow globe the next morning. Unlike any they had seen before, it depicted a miniature scene of Santa in his sleigh flying over the lodge itself, complete with twinkling stars. The globe became a centerpiece for the lodge's Christmas decor in subsequent years, and guests who saw the footage often claimed it rekindled their belief in the magic of the season. The account comes from a small bookstore in a quiet corner of New York City. It was Christmas Eve, and the store, known for its cozy atmosphere and seasonal charm, had closed for the night. The owner, a longtime lover of holiday traditions, had set up a special corner near the window, decorated with vintage ornaments and an assortment of classic holiday books. As a precaution, the store had recently installed a night vision security camera to deter vandalism. Around 2 a.m., the camera picked up an unusual figure moving between the shelves. Initially, the security footage showed only a faint, shadowy figure, but as the individual drew closer to the camera, the image cleared up. It was Santa Claus, walking calmly through the store, carrying a sack of gifts. He stopped by the window, peering out for a moment before beginning to place the gifts on the shelves, as though he were restocking the holiday books with the presents. Santa paused, glanced at the camera, and nodded, almost as if acknowledging the silent observer. What was most perplexing to the store owner when they reviewed the footage was that no one had entered or exited the store. There was no sign of any door being opened or closed. In the morning, the store was discovered to have several beautifully wrapped presents tucked into the corners of bookshelves, none of which had been there the night before. To this day, customers and staff alike often speculate whether it was truly Santa or just a holiday miracle that could never be fully explained. This story takes place in the vibrant heart of an amusement park in Southern California, known for its festive holiday displays. The park's management had installed a hidden camera in one of the park's central attractions, an ornate carousel that glows with lights during the winter season. The idea was to catch footage of the park's decoration process, as workers often had to adjust the lights and make small repairs. However, what the footage revealed was far beyond anyone's expectations. At 3:30 a.m. on Christmas Eve, the camera recorded an unexpected visitor. Santa Claus appeared walking among the carousel's horses, his red coat glowing under the twinkling lights. He didn't just walk around, he carefully checked each carousel horse, adjusting the reins, brushing the mane, and even humming a gentle Christmas tune. Santa appeared completely absorbed in his task, as though preparing the ride for the morning crowd. He moved with grace, ensuring that every detail was perfect, and then, just as quietly as he had arrived, he disappeared into the night, leaving behind only the sound of jingling bells. The footage caused a stir when it was reviewed by the park staff the next morning. When they checked the carousel, they found that every horse was impeccably arranged, with new holiday ribbons tied to the reins. This extra touch of care remained unexplained, adding to the sense that something magical had taken place during the stillness of the night. The next story comes from a remote mountain lodge in the Canadian Rockies. The lodge is a popular destination for winter tourists seeking a serene escape from the hustle and bustle of the holiday season. On Christmas Eve, a family staying at the lodge decided to take a nighttime stroll under the stars. They brought with them a camera, hoping to capture the beauty of the snow-covered peaks and the holiday lights twinkling in the distance. While reviewing the footage the next day, the family was stunned to find something they hadn't noticed the night before. As the camera panned across the snow-covered landscape, it caught a fleeting glimpse of a figure in the distance. Santa Claus, clearly visible in his red suit and hat, was riding a sleigh across the frozen meadow, drawn by what appeared to be reindeer. The family, initially unsure if they had accidentally captured an optical illusion, replayed the footage multiple times. They noticed that the sleigh seemed to glide effortlessly over the snow, leaving no tracks behind. The reindeer, too, appeared weightless, as if they were floating just above the ground. Santa waved cheerfully to the camera before the sleigh lifted into the air and vanished, disappearing into the starry sky. The family shared the footage with other lodge guests, and many claimed to have experienced an overwhelming sense of joy and wonder after watching it. The video, though grainy and fleeting, became a cherished keepsake for the family, forever reminding them of the Christmas magic that had been captured on camera. One of the recorded instances of Santa Claus being caught on camera dates back to the early 1990s. A family decided to set up a camcorder in their living room, hoping to capture Santa's visit on Christmas Eve. When they reviewed the footage the next morning, they were stunned to see a faint shimmer appear near the fireplace. The outline of a figure materialized, Santa Claus himself, with his signature red suit, white beard, and a sack of toys slung over his shoulder. The jolly man seemed to pause for a moment, almost as if acknowledging the camera, before moving to deliver gifts beneath the tree. What made the footage particularly magical was a fleeting moment when Santa raised his finger to his lips in a shh gesture, then disappeared, leaving only the sound of faint jingling bells. An instance occurred in a busy shopping mall during the mid-2000s. Security cameras captured an unexpected sighting late one night. The mall had closed for the evening, but the footage from the closed-circuit cameras showed a shadowy figure moving through the darkened halls. As the camera zoomed in, it became apparent that the figure was none other than Santa Claus, with his red suit and jolly demeanor. What was even stranger was how Santa moved, floating or gliding through the mall with an effortless grace. After a brief stop near the Christmas tree, he reached into his sack and placed an ornament on the tree. The ornament, unlike the others, was a handmade glass piece depicting Santa in his sleigh, raising even more questions about its origins. The footage caused quite a stir, with some speculating it was part of a prank or a stunt, while others felt it was genuine. The unforgettable encounter happened in a rural farmhouse in the snowy woods during the 2010s. A family had installed a wildlife camera to monitor deer activity on their property. The footage they reviewed on Christmas morning revealed something extraordinary. The camera had captured a scene with Santa Claus, dressed in his red suit, feeding treats to a group of reindeer. What made this encounter so remarkable was that after tending to the reindeer, Santa climbed into his sleigh and with a flick of the reins, took off into the sky. The family was left speechless. The sleigh tracks in the snow remained unexplainable, and the shimmering light surrounding the sleigh added an ethereal quality to the sighting. Many believed that the family had witnessed something truly magical. In Northern Europe, a high-definition motion sensor camera was installed by researchers in a remote area to study wildlife. On Christmas Eve, when the footage was reviewed, something incredible was discovered. The camera had caught a sleigh gliding across the snowy terrain pulled by reindeer. Santa Claus, clearly visible in his iconic attire, stopped and seemed to consult a list before continuing on his journey. What made this sighting particularly puzzling was the camera's ability to capture the magical moment, yet no human was seen approaching or leaving the area. The researchers debated whether it was a cleverly staged hoax or something much more inexplicable. Either way, it left them with a sense of wonder and mystery that they couldn't quite shake. Another sighting took place in a small seaside town in Australia, where a family using a drone to capture the Christmas Eve bonfire on the beach recorded something no one could have anticipated. In the distance, the drone's camera captured Santa Claus riding in his sleigh, drawn by reindeer, flying low over the water. The sleigh appeared to glide effortlessly across the sky before disappearing beyond the horizon. The sighting was quickly shared online and became a sensation. Some skeptics suggested it was a clever use of technology, but for those who witnessed it firsthand, it was a magical moment they couldn't easily explain. At a historical castle in Scotland, a paranormal investigation turned into an unexpected Santa Claus sighting. The investigation team had set up infrared cameras in the Great Hall during the Christmas season. They were hoping to capture evidence of ghosts, but instead, they recorded a figure in a red suit carrying a sack of toys who appeared in front of the Christmas tree. The footage showed Santa Claus placing gifts under the tree and taking a moment to admire his work before disappearing in a burst of light. When the team reviewed the footage, they found small wooden toys and candy canes left behind, each bearing a note that read, "Believe in the magic." In Tokyo, a high-tech office building's motion-sensing security cameras picked up a mysterious figure on Christmas Eve. Santa Claus was caught on camera entering the building's cafeteria, where he placed wrapped gifts on the tables. What was most perplexing was that the AI software, which typically recognized faces, failed to identify him. The footage showed Santa pausing at one of the workstations and reading a computer screen before leaving a handwritten note that said, "Hard work deserves kindness. Don't forget to enjoy the season." When the staff arrived the next day, they found the gifts and the note waiting for them, adding to the mystique of the encounter. At a fire station in Montana, a group of firefighters who had set up a camera to document their holiday charity drive received an unexpected surprise. The footage captured Santa Claus entering the station's garage, where he carefully arranged gifts before leaving. A Dalmatian named Sparky, the station's mascot, greeted him, and Santa even took a moment to give Sparky a squeaky toy shaped like a bone. Santa then climbed into his sleigh, which seemed to lift off into the night sky without leaving any tracks behind. The firefighters were divided on what they had witnessed, but many of them couldn't deny the charm and warmth that the footage inspired. A family visiting a remote ski lodge in the Swiss Alps captured a fleeting glimpse of Santa Claus while using a camera to film the snowy scenery. The footage showed Santa flying in his sleigh, pulled by reindeer, gliding effortlessly over the snow-covered meadow before disappearing into the night sky. The family was left in awe, and the video became a cherished part of their holiday memories. In a bookstore in New York City, a security camera filmed Santa Claus walking through the store, carefully placing gifts on the shelves. What made this sighting so intriguing was that the store had been closed for hours, and there was no sign of anyone entering or exiting. In the morning, the owner found small presents nestled between the books, and a handwritten note from Santa was left behind. The season is about more than just the gifts. It's about the joy we bring to others. The footage raised questions about how Santa managed to get inside, leaving the family with an overwhelming sense of Christmas magic. A family visiting an amusement park in Southern California caught something unexpected on the park's security cameras. Late one Christmas Eve, the footage revealed Santa Claus adjusting the horses on the carousel, ensuring each one was in perfect condition. He even paused to hum a Christmas tune before disappearing as mysteriously as he had appeared. When the morning staff reviewed the footage, they found that the carousel was in perfect condition, with ribbons tied around each horse, as though Santa had done the decorating himself. If you liked this video, please give it a like and subscribe to our channel. Also, could you leave your comments below and tell us, what are your thoughts on Santa Claus being caught on camera? We want to hear from you. Thank you for watching and see you next time.